Because you know why?
Why?
Because it feels right.
It feels right.
Legendary.
Hit that button. Hit that button.
Click it or ticket.
Oh,
Adam, you're live. Feels
hey,
right.
safety.
Yes. Look at this being consistent multiple weeks in a row. Oh my God. It's almost like, we have a regular show now. Look at this.
Consistency feels right. And I really appreciate you starting off the pod with safety first. Click it or ticket, guys.
Click it or
safety
ticket.
first. Safety first.
If you see something, say something.
So true. But yes, consistency is key. I'm about to have a little bit more of that in my life, as I have had a very erratic first 40 years of my life. It's about to be very structured, Robert. And
First 40 years.
The first 40 years. So it's something. It's something.
I thought you were going to say like first 4 months of the year, but you said first 40.
Correct.
Last 40 years.
Yeah. And I'm not exaggerating whatsoever. So I guess the first 20 years were somewhat structured with the whole school thing and everything. But the mid 20s on, it's been pretty erratic. And I just went the complete opposite of that. And here we are, domesticated as hell.
Were you like a big rule follower, like growing up in high school and middle school? Like, were you kind of like straight and narrow, or were you just like the rebellious kid?
I was an early partier. So, I probably started maybe around sophomore year of high school, but
drinking, smoking.
Drink. Basically that's what I did early on, was drinking and smoking pot. I never really got into the more stuff, which, unfortunately a few of my friends did. So, I just kind of stuck with that and, did a little bit of that in high school and college. But I would say, I think there's a lot of people that are, like full on straight edge in high school and then really erupt in college. And so it was more kind of steady for me. I would say, how about for you, Rob?
Pretty straight and narrow in high school. I was, playing tennis a lot and traveling a lot and missed a lot of stuff, like typical high school wise, right? Like school dances and stuff. So I was pretty focused. I started tennis late. I started, a lot of these kids that played in college and pro started when they were 5. I first touched a tennis racket when I was 12 and really started playing consistently when I was 13. So had that little small window of like 4 to 5 years to try to get really good so I could get a scholarship. So I was pretty dialed into that life for that little window. But then, college came and it all went to hell.
I think you were that guy. I brought it up in my too. So you were that guy. You went for it. So So I don't think I could have been like crazy good at tennis, but I could have been a lot better than I was. I was, it's not like I didn't practice or anything, but I goofed off in practice. And a lot of these, Texas tournaments, you're traveling for the weekend, and I would be, concerned about getting home to go out or whatever, So it's what it is. And, like I said, I never could have been awesome, but I probably could have been a better tennis player for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I never really, a lot of the kids growing up playing these junior tournaments have like aspirations going pro, whether they're realistic or not. It was never really like, I never played futures. I never really even had an interest in playing beyond college. All of my focus was just to play in college, and then maybe use tennis as a vehicle to not live, similar to you, not live a traditional 9-to-5 type life where you get a job, you get married, you have kids. I just wanted to do different random stuff. So was able to use tennis to travel and coach different places, coach some college tennis like you did. Mm-hmm. And but never really had kind of pro aspirations. Just wanted to use tennis as kind of
I never even thought about playing pro tennis. I'm not sure it even ever really crossed my mind, but I'm done with tennis. I'm a pickleball guy. I don't want anything to do with it, but it is a great sport. It's been great to me throughout my life, and I will always have some form of soft spot in my heart for tennis.
Adam, I like the name of our podcast. It feels right, just because it makes sense and it does feel right. Mm-hmm. I would say the other podcast name that I like a lot, have to shout out Travis Rettenmeyer, is the Tennis Sucks Podcast. I mean, it's a great name.
It's great coming from him too, who has a pretty legit background, like quite a bit better than us. So for him to label his podcast Tennis Sucks Podcast, kudos to Rettenmeyer. And the more I see him and hear him, that man doesn't give a damn, and I respect it.
Yeah, he's one of the few that doesn't give a rip, and it's a lot of fun.
Robert, might we possibly have a guest on the episode today that also does not give a damn? Is that true, Robert?
I believe that is true, Adam. And for the people in pro pickleball that don't give a rip, she's got to be number one on the list. She does not care. She will say what she wants to say, and which is unique in pro pickleball, right? Because we're not writing our own checks. We rely on different organizations and tours and companies and sponsors to do that for us. And the fact that, she's kind of willing to put her, name and word out on the line, irrespective of that is pretty dope in my opinion. So pumped to have Lea Jansen on the pod a little later coming up. But yeah, until then, until then, we'll continue on.
Yes, no, that was great. I think you're exactly right. And I feel like I'm on the fairly high end of kind of marching to my own beat and doing my own thing, but I have definitely pulled back a time or two, or maybe not fully said what was on my mind because of exactly what you talked about. So having gone through that personally, someone who doesn't care much about things like that, it has to have some amount of respect for me, and she definitely has that. Yeah,
and it's I think she's going to have some things to say today.
I would imagine so. So
a little earlier via text, and she's always fired up about something. I respect it.
That's right. I agree completely. So let's chat briefly just about what's coming up in the next week or two. What do you got going? You had a nice medal in Sacramento this past weekend with a lovely around the post shot on match point to make Championship Sunday. Tell me a little bit about this past tournament and what you got going in the next week or two, Robert.
Yeah, it was that trip was a little tough, right? Because was at the U.S. Open, and then to have a cross country one and done type trip is difficult going to Sacramento also, which doesn't have a ton of direct flights to it. So I'm pretty sure everybody from the East Coast had to have a connection. So it's just a long trip getting there and getting back. And especially with kind of the health stuff I have going on, it makes it even more difficult, but fun tournament. Horrendous mixed results, solid men's day with Ryler. He keeps getting, more solid and more solid. Starting to slow his game down a little bit, which I think is really key in men's. It's a bit more effective, the drive and crash and being able to kind of blitz the female and mixed, which is why I think he's had some success there, and a little less success in men's. So he was able to drop a little bit more, working on being a bit more patient, making more dinks, taking force out of the air. So it was a lot of fun. I mean, even throughout that tournament, just kind of saw him get better and better each match. So I think, I think he's going to continue getting better, and it's going to, had a lot of fun playing with him. He gets fiery. He's like sneaky, sneaky, ragey, fiery, which is a lot of fun because he'll be pretty quiet a lot of the time, but inside you kind of see it's stirring, and then it'll just explode, and you're like, whoa, I like that. That's fun.
I got to tell a story real fast. Yeah. This is the first time I played with Callan Dawson. So Callan, very mild-mannered, goes about his business, whatever. And so we're playing the Triple Crown, actually, in Simi Valley, California. And so, I mean, we have a couple pretty solid wins early on. Callan doesn't say much, we might – I kind of talk a little strategy, he just shakes his head, whatever. And so we're playing Tyson and Morgan, and we're in game 3 or something. And one of the first points in game 3, we just have this super long dink rally, 50 or 60 balls, and we ended up winning. And we just walk back to the kitchen line together as a team. And he just kind of under his breath lightly just says, "These fuckers can't out-dink us." And I just go, "Whoa, Callan, okay, you're there. And he just kind of shot a look over to me after he said it. I was like, all right, here we go, baby. Let's go, Callan. So I think you're right. Maybe someone who's a little more boisterous and does something all the time means a little bit less than someone who is low-key fiery and makes that comment without giving much at other times. Anyway, continue. I just wanted to squeeze that in.
I've got plenty of Callan ones like that, because he's usually even in rec, he's so quiet, and then you'll get a butt tap and a little whisper in your ear that's like, "Let's go, baby."
Yeah,
Like,
right.
yes,
Let's go.
So shout out to Cal, and he's the man. Lost we won the 2 out of 3 against Andre and Pesa, and then lost the 15er. But yeah, on the note on the ATP, Adam, it was a cool looking clip, but it wasn't necessarily particularly because of my shot. Like if you watch that kind of ATP from like the overhead view or the backhand view from the back of the court, just looks like kind of just looks like an ATP, like good shot. But from kind of that low camera angle that they have on that sideline, at ground level, it looked really dope, right? Because you could see how long I waited. You could see kind of the angle of where it's at with the net post and how wide the ball was and kind of the bend of the ball to hook it back in. So, and like, there's been a lot of discussion about getting better viewership in these pro pickleball matches online and on TV. And I think the APP did a really, really good job of having that camera there and showing that angle, because you're able to actually see, to me, really the first time where you could actually see kind of the shape of a ball, where to me, it wasn't like a spectacular shot. It was a good shot, but like, I think the camera angle did it justice. And I think, if you have those kind of camera angles all over the place, people will be really, really impressed by what all these top level pros can do. In terms of shaping the ball. So I just think that's the right direction in terms of camera angles. And I hope to see more and more of that in these broadcasts, because it really does a fine job of kind of displaying what, top pros do with the ball.
I totally agree, Rob. And, I think the shot was spectacular regardless of the camera view, Robert. But
I think the timing was spectacular.
It's like, yeah, that's true. That is also true. But it's kind of like you hear the sportscasters right into your living room when the shot's coming right at you. So you kind of see that different angle, and you don't see that part side spin, part top spin that you had on the ball from an overhead view. So, or a different camera view. So the shape of the shot is what was spectacular about it, because you almost didn't have the shot and you used the spin to create the shot, and you don't see that on a different camera view. So I think you're absolutely right. Just kind of showed the specialness of some of those ATPs and different angles. You do not see that.
Yeah, I just think that ground level view is really cool. And I just wonder, I just hope some of these broadcast teams really play with that and try to figure out other cool views to show kind of the bend of the ball and kind of how players manipulate it. So to be determined, but I think it's a great step in terms of broadcast quality and getting cool angles, and I hope that continues.
Yeah. So, I was just going to say, Rob, that it's just a fact. In-person tennis and pickleball is more impressive. Than on TV. And sometimes in tennis it looks like they have all day. Sometimes these exchanges look somewhat slow on TV. That is obviously not the case. So any form of camera angle that can help, or any form of production value that can help translate the quality of these shots and that play from a live perspective to the viewer, I am all for that, because in person it is some spectacular stuff, and sometimes putting that on screen takes a little bit of that away.
Yeah, and honestly, even if it, I don't know what it might look like or what angles they might use, but I would say even if it kind of impedes view and like if it's in our visual or eyesight and kind of annoying, like worth it, right? Like to increase broadcast quality is a really, really big deal right now. And getting it to translate to TV and getting more eyeballs and viewership on pro pickleball is important. So I would just say anything we can do to increase quality is important right now.
Love it.
Yes. So that was what, Sacramento. I am doing something fun next week, Adam. I'm going to Nashville, and I feel like if you didn't have an impending baby on the way, that you would be there too, because we're doing a celebrity kind of exhibition pro-am with a bunch of country music stars, and Philip Phillips. He's not a country music star. He's a star, but not a country music star.
Hey, Prof. Let's induce. I got somewhere to be.
We're doing a welcome dinner at Kid Rock's house. Like all kinds of fun stuff is happening.
Right.
So,
well, I know, like, didn't someone make a paddle for Kid Rock, like one of the companies, and he like actually plays a little pickle, I think. Is that correct?
he's got a pickleball court at his house.
There you go.
Plays a little pickle. I don't know who made the paddle, but so doing like a celebrity pro-am exhibition next Tuesday, which will be a lot of fun. Doing some play with the pro type stuff with the Nashville pickleball community, which will be a lot of fun. And then straight from there, going up to Cincinnati for the APP, where I'll be playing with the guy that's beat me the last couple of tournaments, Andre Diescu, and
nice, excellent,
and Susanna. So
you're going to be a right side specialist for that one?
My forehand dinks money right now. My backhand clears money. My forehand flicks money. I'm a right side machine, Adam.
Love that.
So I'm ready.
Love that. Okay, good stuff. No, that's a nice little run and a nice little couple weeks. And I know they have pretty solid just pickleball community in Tennessee in general. So I've done some teaching down in Florida with a couple other pros, and we seem to always have a couple sprinkled in Tennessee people down in Florida for some sunny times and some good pickleball. So love to see that, and I'm sure that'll be fun.
Adam.
Yes.
Are we allowed to make the announcement yet?
What's the announcement? Oh, yes. So
for you.
So I have officially signed with Selkirk. Boom, right there. I'm rocking my hard eights here. I haven't got onto the Selkirk.com and got all my gear yet, but I know that they have been signing, quite a few
high-end content creators like yourself.
Exactly, Robert. So they have obviously have plenty of players inside the lines, but they have some internet personalities, some high-end content creators, and pickleball influencers. So it just made perfect sense that we would come together with a partnership. So very excited for that. Really, really cool to see Selkirk be one of those original companies and kind of, stay with the times. So they got the old school, just kind of being around for a while, and they have definitely kept up with the technology. And I'm excited to get a paddle in my hand and see what I can do. And I just might play one tournament with Deckel Bar at the end of this year or the beginning of next year. And
that'd be fun.
Having a nice little, whatever it might be, Selkirk Power Air possibly in my hand, maybe we can not go 1 and 2. We'll see.
Adam, I think you with the Power Air, like it doesn't matter what you're playing with, you're going to be able to put the ball in the kitchen. So I wouldn't worry about that ever for you.
Okay.
We're similar in terms of when we played with softer paddles, our counters are very big swings, right?
Yes.
So with the Power Air, I've been able to shorten my counter a little bit. Still too big probably, but I've been able to make it a bit smaller, and the counters are often just one counter and done. So
I'm going to get lit up less at the kitchen line, Robert. Is that correct?
That's correct. You're going to get lit up less. You'll still get lit up, but you're going to get lit up.
Okay. Okay. Well, there's never going to be no getting lit up when I'm on the court. So it's all good. But no, that's very exciting. And, I've been dealing with Kate, Kate from Selkirk, who does a lot of the player stuff. And I remember her from a long time ago in Canada, had a beer with her, and, oh my gosh, the third drop sports, Mark Renison. So it's kind of cool to see old people full circle situation, older people with a different company. And now I was like, oh, I know you. We had a nice, lovely IPA together. So
hey, Adam.
Yes.
So talk about OG pickleball, Mark Renison, Kate. And full circle is, I don't know this person because it was before my time, but certainly wasn't before your time.
Okay.
And I think this is a Pacific Northwest type guy. And I was at Sacramento standing at the fence watching just a random men's doubles match. And Simone was beside me. She goes, didn't that guy used to play like with Ashworth and Kyle Yates? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't recognize him. And she's like, I could swear like that guy's right-handed. He's playing right-handed, but I'm pretty sure that's Curtis Campbell. But he used to play left-handed. She's like, why? He's playing right-handed. Was Curtis Campbell a lefty?
No, he's a switcheroo.
He's a switcheroo. It's like a Westgate
switcheroo. Yeah, he's a switcheroo. So he would do he would do a lot of left-handed and right-handed dinks, one-handed, and then he had a really good backhand power punch from the chest. So I know he stopped playing for a while, and I think he moved from California to Utah, but he was in the mix when I first started, and he was probably right on the cusp of being a top 10 player when I first started. So he's got some game, and it's there you go.
So he was out there.
A few years off. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, because I didn't know him, but I people have said his name, and I'm like, don't know him, but I've heard a lot of stories. Yeah,
he looks kind of like the caveman guy from the Geico commercial. He used to have a beard just like that guy, and it was pretty funny. That was of course that was a Mills Miller special there. He's like, go get a Geico or something. I don't know what he said, but either way, Mills being Mills, and good to see Curtis out there.
We have a lot more to talk about, but what I want to do now, Adam, is go ahead and shoot this invite link over to Lea, so she'll join us.
Let's go, Lea.
And we can keep rolling, and when she joins, she can just pick up right with us. How about that?
I like that.
So invite sent. Lea will join us shortly here. So you have baby on the way. When? Soon?
Oh God, it's May 12th is the technical date, but I mean she's been, what they consider full term for a week or two now, so it really could be any day. And I think the word is that for the first baby, it's much more likely to go to the date or possibly a little after, and subsequent children, it could possibly come earlier. I think that's what I heard at my 9-hour birthing class, Robert.
9 hours. Was that one day?
One day, Robert. One day, Robert. It's a 9-hour birthing class. So no, but it's she's ready to pop. She's looking forward to a medium rare steak and some sushi. She hasn't been able to have that. She has definitely possibly been slightly more irritable. I kind of softened that as much as I could. But
you can't blame her, right? She's carrying a child.
Blame her.
She's carrying
you can't blame her at all. So I've we probably had a back and forth a couple times. I need to just let that go. She's in her she's providing for another human. So I think that's pretty high on the list of things. I should not worry about anything else.
Yeah. Is she excited for this thing to come out, or is she kind of like nervous about? So she's pumped. Okay.
Oh, she wants. I'm not. I think it's as much, if not more, pumped to just have it out as. I mean, it's
not the process, right?
She's an athletic, active person, and she's so much. She can't really do much, so it's definitely getting to her a little bit, and I can't blame her from that at all. But I've kind of been trying to, manage thinking about it too much and trying to enjoy some of these last weeks. And it's getting there though. And I'm definitely getting more and more excited. And, 900,
it's gonna be so fun.
900 people, saying it's a great decision. You're going to love it. And it's gotta be right, Robert? Right.
Adam, it obviously felt right to you to have this child. So here we are.
It did. Here we are. So either way, exciting times, and life going to change soon, but I think it's going to change for the better.
How are you feeling? Are you like nervous? Like you like Adam, like you said, first 40 years of your life have been like pretty wild in terms of just like free for all, doing what you want. And now you're responsible for the health and well-being of this little tiny alien creature that's coming out of your pregnant wife's tummy.
Yes. No, it's wild. I've done a pretty good job of just kind of like blocking out future events that could possibly give you anxiety, and just finding a way to compartmentalize that and just put it off to the side. But so that's kind of what I've been doing so far. I mean, obviously know it's coming. I've been chatting with people about it, this and that, birthing class, doing a little research here and there, but it's coming, and there's nothing I can do at this point. So it's game time, Robert, and no more blocking it out or enjoying my selfish me time. There's no more of that moving forward, and I am okay with that. I have come to terms with that.
I mean, you had a
hard.
good 40-year run, bro.
I had a great run of incredible doing what I want to do, selfishness, and it's time to give to something else.
Love it.
And like I said, I think it's a good time for that to happen.
Well, I'm excited to be Uncle Rob and see that little thing, and that's going to be fun. I'm going to add Lea to the stream, but last question here, Adam, on this topic is, and we haven't even talked about this offline, is obviously MLP's June 21st, something like that. How is Prof feeling on, let's say the baby comes mid-May as expected? How's Prof thinking or feeling on being able to participate in that final MLP of the season?
Yeah, so it's tough because it is kind of like right there on the cusp of time, whether she's going to be like physically okay to play, and it really could come down to a few days. If the baby goes too far past May 12th, that's going to be an issue. If it comes out right on time, I think from kind of what I've heard about kind of how her body looks during pregnancy, that she's probably going to be good to go to play. But I think the recovery process is different from everyone. And, sometimes it's a relatively smooth birth, and sometimes, it takes a little bit longer or some more things that go wrong. So we'll just have to see. But she's a champ, and if she can play through it or possibly come back a little bit sooner, I think she's one that can do that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's just hope for a healthy mama and baby and go from there.
I like that. So, hey, Lea, how you doing?
Hey, congrats, Adam. I didn't realize it's coming up so quickly.
Oh, yeah.
It's next month, right? Or is it this month?
Yeah, like it's May 12th. It's really happening. And I'm going to, and
so
I think
it might happen like a day.
Oh yeah, it could happen today. I mean, we might have to end this podcast in 10 minutes. I'm driving to Wake Med Cary to have a baby. So I'm going to be like Johnny Goldberg.
Isn't she in finals right now? Or is she on leave already?
She's done going to campus. She has some grading to do, but I mean, she's like, the timing was perfect. She's not even taking maternity leave. She's just working all the way up to the end, and then it will be summer. So
beautiful.
Yeah. She's doing it. But yeah, I'm happy. She can go play pickleball. I'll just hang out with everyone and be the Johnny Goldberg, have the baby. It's good stuff. I'm happy to do it.
You look like a natural.
It looks like you're wearing a seatbelt, Lea.
No, it's where I just got back from breakfast. I now have this Lulu fanny that keeps all my insulin right there, so I don't have to constantly be going through my bag. So yeah, it's kind of like a fashion staple for me now.
Love it. I know, obviously, I think it's pretty well known that you have diabetes, but I don't think we've ever talked about, I'm sure you've shared it other places, but I haven't really talked about how, what that's like, playing, being a touring pro and dealing with that. What's that been like?
It's really tough with the travel. I get really exhausted, and I would say the biggest thing is just by the time Championship Sunday comes around, you can put me in a casket. I'm done, and always after a tournament, no matter what, if I just play doubles, if I just do whatever, I'm in bed for 2 to 3 days afterwards. I always tell my friends, it's I went to a festival and I went nuts. And I'm in bed recuperating for 2 to 3 days afterwards. And all I did was play pickleball. But it's all good.
An NFL player. They play their game Sunday and they just literally don't get out of bed till Wednesday. It's no different.
Exactly. So but it's a short period in my time, but it's just the travel. The travel is just insane this year. I feel like maybe it's the years adding up, but it didn't used to affect me as much.
Yeah, so just a lot of fatigue around that. But what about the actual, how often are you taking insulin, that kind of thing?
Oh, it's every day, all the time. Okay. On singles day, I'll be taking a ton because adrenaline keeps me high on singles days. So yeah, it's just kind of, honestly, it's so robotic to me. I just don't even really think about it. The only thing I think about is just after a crazy blood sugar weekend, and that's when I notice it. I'm like, oh, it's time for me to sleep for a few days.
Got it. So like the day-to-day management's just kind of on autopilot, but you feel the effects just based on fatigue after travel.
Day to day, I'm perfect. Like if I were just a normal diabetic, like living a normal life, I would be the best. But I've gotten this good because of I've been trying to control it on court. On court is just, some days you're really nervous and your insulin's not responding.
Yep. Gotcha. Are you heading to Charlotte this weekend? Or are you already in Charlotte?
Yeah, I'm in Charlotte. I got in last night, and so just kind of chilling. I'm going to go play some singles with Wyatt Stone actually in a few hours. And just kind of, I love Wednesdays. You just kind of feel like you're doing something, but you're not.
Yeah. Just get a little hit in, feel the courts. So who are you do you have Rettenmeyer for mixed?
Rettenmeyer and Elise.
Dope. Do you have them all year?
So Rettenmeyer, him and I did commit all year. And Elise, we committed for the first 6 months. And I know some people might be upset, but we've decided that, I really have been in year-long partnerships pretty much since I started. And I'm not good at them. I'm not good at them. I think I get a little bored. I like a little bit of a mix-up. And there's so many good players now where I think we're going to mix it up. And I think it would be good for both of us. Like, I don't think our results have been improving. We've been good, but we haven't improved. But it's hard to improve when you come out just with
a little frozen, Adam.
Yeah, she looks frozen. I wonder what she's looking at.
I wonder what she's looking at.
Okay. So that's I'm guessing that
32.
No talk of breaking or not playing with Rettenmeyer, but there looks like there's a chance that there could be a little mix up with Elise for that partnership.
Excited to hear who it's going to shift to, and I don't disagree with her in terms of keeping partnerships fresh. I mean, it's not necessarily that she might be going from Elise to quote unquote a better player or a worse player. It's just more about how you complement each other and styles and personalities. And that's usually a bigger factor than just pure, ability and talent. Right.
No, definitely. I mean, I think that's absolutely true. It is. It's almost like, it's like switching sides when things aren't going well. It might not be your best option, but you're just mixing it up. You're just mixing it up. So
you're exactly right. It's one thing I talked to Ryler about after our match in SAC against Andre and Pesa. Ryler just couldn't stay in the Dink rally past like 3 or 4 dinks. And he was saying that. He was like, I feel like I'm stuck over here. What do I need to do? And we definitely should have, even though he's a lefty, I definitely should have popped over to the right side and just, hit dinks with pace across court because just to change the pattern. And I feel comfortable with that. But so Lea's back. We were just saying that, with a partner switch like that, it's not always about having a quote unquote better partner or, not as good of a partner skill ability wise. It's about mixing it up with skill sets and personalities and how you complement each other.
And I love playing with Elise, and I don't ever want to get to the point where I don't love playing with her. And I kind of feel that's how 1-year partnerships run. I mean, I think Adam can speak on this. He had a hard breakup with Devil Bar, and when you play with your friend and you I have relationships off court. I don't want to feel my feels with my doubles partner because I've been like that. And I've had some partnerships that have ended that have really destroyed me. So that's why I committed for 6 months. If we were going to run the table, I was going to stick with it. But so I'm going to play with Jessie. I have 1 with Anna. I have 2 with Andrea. And I'm actually going to play a decent bit with Lacey Schneeman, which I'm pretty excited about.
Schneeman. Okay, so you did go with a mixed bag. And I'll tell you what, for a mixed bag, that's not a bad one. I believe that was 4 players you mentioned and some pretty quality talent in there. So that's awesome. And I mean, to speak to your point, like, I mean, I guess I was with Deckel for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years or something like that. And it like was basically about as good as it could have been, but when you creep into that amount of time, there's always going to be some form of staleness or something small that isn't fully cohesive, whether that's mentally or on the court with strategy wise. So totally true. Love Deckel. We had an awesome run together, but it's just something, regardless of how good of friends you are off court or how on the same page you are on court, there's always something that can happen to make that partnership stale, and makes a lot of sense. I think she's frozen again.
Oh, she looks like she is frozen. I got a question for her when she gets back, though.
Fair enough.
But what I was going to say, Adam, and I'll bring this up to her when she comes back, is that I've had a lot of fun watching Lea this year with Elise play kind of that left side alpha role, where Elise is playing the right and kind of locking down the right. And I just wonder what that's going to look like with, Jessie, Anna, Andrea, Lacey. I think Lacey is really Jessie plays right really well as well, but I'll be curious to see if Lea is playing left or right in a lot of these partnerships, because it's been fun to watch her kind of play that alpha role on the left with Elise. And I think it's been fun to watch because she plays that role really well. And I think it probably is where she should be. So I don't know. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I think all the 3 first partners mentioned are all fairly interchangeable. But I don't think Lacey really wants to be over there on the right. And I know she's played there plenty in mixed and whatever, but from what I've seen of her, especially in women's, she seems more comfortable on the left side. So that will be an interesting one. And I think she mentioned that of those 4 partnerships, she has the most with Lacey Schneeman. So that will be something to monitor. And I know that, this is a little while ago, but I know Lea likes her backhand dink a little bit more than her forehand, but that forehand is so, dangerous on the speed ups. I think Lea over on the right, if she can find some confidence and consistency on that forehand dink, and she can pair that with some of the creating of offense on that side, I think it could be really good, even though I do agree with you, kind of seeing her on the left with that free reign, kind of going for it, using her length and her forehand in the middle has been nice for her these last few months.
Yeah, she's moved really freely. She's her footwork's been great. She's covering a lot of court really well. I mean, Elise isn't very large in stature, so Lea's reach has been really beneficial to that partnership. And it is such a different role going from that to kind of a lockdown right side player. But she does that in mix with Travis. So I have no doubt that she's going to be fine over there. So it'll be fun to watch new partnerships.
Yeah, and I think there's that's a fine combination to be a right side, like what you were talking about too. So, you can have a more rockish player, say kind of like myself, or you can have a slightly more threatening player on the right that speeds up more frequently. And I don't think either one is necessarily right or wrong. So you can have a super consistent, only focusing on setting up that left side player, and then you can have a right side player that starts the fire a little bit more with some good solid speed ups, and then maybe that left side player cleans up. So there's not a blueprint, a perfect blueprint for that right side player, but certainly forehand dink consistency really needs to be there, and then after that you can put your own spin on it.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I'm sure she's not the only one that has, that's mixing up partnerships in the second half of the year. Obviously, Jessie, Anna, Andrea, Lacey are also playing with other people. So I like that, man. We talk about it all the time, how some matchups can get stale, and we're already seeing that a little bit with Lea and Elise, right? So I think seeing new partnerships is always fun. I honestly think it would be pretty cool to have it be like required to where, throughout the season, you must play, you must play with X number of different people. Like that's a requirement.
I like, or you can cap it. So every PPA you play, you can have 6 PPAs with a person, and that's it. And then that's it. You have to switch. So I know, I think that's cool. And she mentioned it right before she froze out, that there's more talent in the women's field, and we got all the APP players as well, which is great, which is really exciting. So all those, whatever, Vivian, Georgia's, Anna's, whoever was playing APP. So not only do you get an influx of new talent, you get the tours combining. So it does give the ladies options, and they didn't really have that a year, 18 months ago, where the guys did. You saw it more with the guys, and now we're going to see it with the girls as well. And I think both are great. The variety of both is great.
That's a great point. I'm just thinking back to like even last year, right, of how limited the PPA women's field was in terms of who you could partner with. It was so restrictive and limited. So you're absolutely right. Having a wide array of options, and not just a wide array of options, but like, I mean, we're talking top 10 talent. Like, the Georges that came over, Vivians, et cetera. So yeah, you're absolutely right. The depth, I mean, we've talked about it a lot. The depth in the women's game has been lacking, but and we talked about that with MLP having 48 players. And I just don't think the second half of this I don't think quality in that challenger on the women's side and challenger is going to be that rough. I think it's going to be pretty solid, to be honest.
Yeah, no, definitely true. And it's like you said, you don't have to mix things up and dip down a tier. You can mix things up in your own tier with your own similar talented players, as opposed to having, if you did want to make a switch a year, 18 months ago, you probably had to go to someone, a full rung below you.
That might be on the rise.
Right. In terms of talent, whether that's an old crusty vet or that's solid or a new up and coming player that's less proven. Either way, there had to be some form of, like, you're not exactly going to know what you're going to get. And now that's not really the case. So, I mean, look at those players that Lea said that are her options or who she's playing with. We're talking about Andrea Coop, Anna Bright, and there was one other one that was very good player either way. So
Jesse Irvin, Lacey.
There you go. Yeah.
I think, 3 of the 4 gold medal winners on the PPA tour. So
yeah, right. I mean, come on.
Pretty solid selection. Yeah,
for sure. So that's great to see, that they can, switch it up and still be relevant, as opposed to switch it up and probably not even sniff the medal rounds as it was previously. So that's great.
Yeah. And Lea said her internet's fine. Her phone just keeps overheating, but she's switching it out, so she'll be on in 2. So she'll be back with us shortly. But Adam, and we'll talk to Lea about it as well, the PPA in Charlotte this weekend. But kind of the big news around this event, and a lot of the talk and buzz around this event is because they got a hometown boy in Charlotte, Jack Sock, who is participating in not just doubles, but he's playing men's singles, mixed pro doubles with Annalie Waters, and he's playing men's pro doubles with Tyson McGuffin. No slouches for partners. So that's one way to come into pro pickleball, right? Not the same way most of us came in, where we're just trying to, play some singles to prove yourself a little bit, to snag some decent partners. I mean, he's coming in guns a-blazing. And of course, he played at the Bubbly Championship in Vegas, the team event, which was a little bit of a glorified exhibition in a sense, but he was able to show off some of his skills and ability. And Jack's been playing for more than a couple of years now. So he's not a newcomer, but he hasn't played a lot of high level pro pickleball kind of level events or matches. So this is new territory for him in terms of competing at the highest level in a real tournament setting. So exciting stuff.
Yeah. And you mentioned it. There's a lot of different, you can play pickleball for a year, and there's a lot of different ways to play pickleball for a year. Is it playing twice a month, for 30 minutes on Tuesday night and Thursday night? Or is it, psychopath James Ignatowicz, playing, literally 10 hours a day. So court time and who you're playing with, the quality of your play, all of these things factor into kind of, where you stack up in terms of how long you play, because we all get enticed with upside and, players that have only been playing for 4 weeks or 6 weeks and showing some relevance. So it's different for everyone. I know he's played quite a bit of pickleball, but who knows really how quality that is if he's just goofing off with Donald Young and a couple of the other tennis guys, or is he playing some real points and some real matches? So either way, it's great. I talked to Dave Fleming. They're going to put him on the live stream a lot, which they absolutely should. As this is, kind of really the only guy. We were in a group chat with Matt Wright, which we often do. Yeah. And I think my line was, he asked some questions, and my line was, he's the only guy right now that I could see turning into a monster. Yeah. So plenty, don't get me wrong, plenty of talented guys, plenty of guys who could make the leap into that top 5, top couple conversation. But in terms of the pedigree, the physical tools, and the, just the racket paddle sport background, I just think he checks more boxes than anyone. And he's certainly, might go 2-2 and look okay this weekend. But if anyone can break through from what I've seen and the quality words of people that I trust kind of in the pickleball community that have talked about his skill set, I'm very excited.
Yeah. I mean, just seeing him play and playing with him in Dallas. Impressed me with the soft stuff. I thought, that's usually the last to come and the most challenging, the mid-court stuff. And still making some bad decisions in the midcourt, right? Like just wailing forehands from your shoelaces because you can, and get away with it, if you're not playing high level, games. But so I think looking at this weekend where he's playing with Anna Lee and playing with Tyson, it'll be interesting. If I'm playing them, I'm just trying to grind Jack down and just make him play a lot of dinks, right? Because in a tournament setting where, he's used to high level matches, don't get me wrong. He's played at the highest level of tennis, which, trumps like significantly these pickleball matches. But at the same time, I would guarantee he's going to feel butterflies. He's going to be nervous. There's fair amount of expectations, right, coming into it, and I'll tell you, when you're a little tight, it's hard to not pop up some dinks.
No, it's true. And we just saw Lea Jansen back with us taking a little swig of that Starbucks. Zero motivation to I can do anything in 5 minutes. That first cup of coffee.
Well, it's true. This is actually my second cup.
Fair.
I'm pretty addicted, but I'm all good now. I set up my new iPhone. So thank you for this to happen, because I've been using this broken iPhone.
Nice.
And now that it like just overheated. So now I set up my brand new one that I paid $1,500 for.
God, we're
here to help.
Backup iPhone in the wings just waiting. That's
I bought it a month ago trying to change over, and I think Adam can speak to this. Like, there's something about your old phone and not wanting to use new technology that keeps
Oh God, yes.
Oh God,
yes. I can. How much time do we have? I can speak to that for a while. So no, absolutely true. I thought that was funny though, and I even remember on Twitter, Robert, you said I get the same feeling from cup number 5. I believe that's what you said. Yeah. No, he's a psycho. Like I'm a psycho. And he's not joking.
He's the James Ignatowicz.
Yeah, I'm not joking. I drink significant amounts of caffeine.
I love it. Talking about stock, huh?
Celsius.
Yeah, we were just talking about stock, and we were just commenting how, of course, there's tons of not tons, but lots of players with impressive skill sets. But I was saying that he's the one that stood out to me that could really become a monster if he commits to it. I know, I'm not sure if you've had any experience with him outside of that Bubbly Championships, but I know you got to play with a little bit of him there. What did you think about his skill set at the Bubbly Championships in Las Vegas?
Well, growing up, my dad used to just hate on Jack Sock's forehand because of all his wrist. And it's perfect for pickleball. Like, I think how wristy he is going to be such a great correlation. And like, his court coverage is ridiculous. I mean, he's by like leaps and bounds, just like, obviously he's competed at a way higher level than all of us in anything. But back then, and even a few months ago, we would hear from people in Texas playing with him in Dallas, like, make ball bounce, you're good. It's harder to make the ball bounce against him, but I do think we're skilled enough to make the ball bounce. and kind of make him force something. And, you know, when you're getting targeted and you're playing with Anna Leigh, there is an amount of pressure, you know, and I can speak to it. Like, I feel like I'm really battle tested in pickleball, but there is some pressure just when Anna Leigh's taking so much court and you're seeing every ball, you're just kind of like, well, this isn't, first of all, it's weird playing with her because it's not traditional and she's not a tennis player. So for Jack, the court awareness that he has, Anna Leigh does not have. She's like a chaos kind of run into you soccer player. So I don't know. I don't know if the drive and crash doesn't work for them. I think there might be a lot of unforced errors from that side.
Yeah, and this is obviously incredibly different. But we had Tim Parks, the Hard Eights owner, playing with Riley Newman because Matt.
Oh yeah,
Wright
I saw some of that.
Yeah, right.
He didn't look like he was having fun. I don't know what to say for that.
He's a very competitive guy. But anyway, we were practicing the day before. And he was like, all right, guys, just come at me. Just come at me. That's what they're going to do. He was worried about sliding over and punching that backhand, kind of like Colin does. But then we talked to him after the tournament, and he was like, nobody even hit the ball hard to me at all. They just hit dinks to me. So that's the situation. It's not like people are going to be firing away at Jack's sock. Make the ball bounce, dink to him, play soft. If he can figure it out and make some good decisions, you know, great. Maybe you go away from that. But first tournament, there's a good chance he's not going to be making great decisions. So, yeah.
First tournament, too, is just it's going to be weird. And then for men's especially, I think it's going to be interesting because I know him and Tyson are going to have this drive and crash mentality. Yeah. But besides that, I don't know where a whole lot of offense is coming. And as good as Jack's hands are, say he plays with like a Dylan, you know, against a Dylan.
Yeah.
Okay. Dylan can hit so many spots. I don't care how fast your hands are. Like, you don't know how to guard your spots yet, which is, you know, every new tennis player coming into pickleball. So I think there's just a lot of little nuances, but obviously, yes, like if he dives full in, I have no doubt he'll surpass the Joneses, like with whoever he plays with.
Yeah. No, I agree. And it sounds like he is coming in full-time next year. Well, full-time as in
next year.
Yeah, as in from whatever 15 to 18 tournaments. So.
I'm just excited to see singles because that's where I feel like, you know, the physical force comes in. You know, you see it with Judith Costello. She's been playing 8 months and she's already, like, you saw it with Paris and Anna. Anna was more impressive because she did it in doubles, but Paris and Judith kind of came in like within 8 months and they're top of the singles game. And it's like, well, yeah, it's especially, you know, when they got, you know, the paddles how they are nowadays. You guys are playing some mini tennis. And that's kind of how I feel like it will be with Jack.
Yeah, and it's interesting because he hasn't when he plays pickle, he's playing doubles mostly. He's not one of those guys that came in and just like played singles because it translates easiest. Like he's been playing for a while and he's playing mostly doubles. I don't think he's trained singles very much. So it'll be an interesting viewpoint on pretty raw singles ability. Whereas like, you know, Jack's obviously a completely different level than like a Noah Rubin, but we saw Noah Rubin struggle, right? And he played multiple tournaments and practiced and didn't get very far. So it'll just be you're right. It'll be really curious to see how Jack does just raw singles talent.
Yeah, and I think like if you take a Maria Sharapova, do I think she's going to be good at pickleball? No. Like she was a baseliner taking time away from people.
Yeah.
If I take a Justine Ennen or a Ash Barty, they're going to whoop me in within 10 minutes. So it's all about your skill set as a tennis player, and it's Jack's skill set.
That Jans chick. I don't know. I watched her play one match. She's drop shotting and lobbing,
that girl
carving it up, playing all court game. I mean, that lady would be amazing at pickle.
She would be ridiculous.
Yes.
Like ridiculous. So there's players like that, but I'm really excited to see, and I'm most interested in singles, and I'm most interested just to kind of see the dynamics of what he looks like in mixed doubles.
Yeah.
So just to kind of play devil's advocate, so I would say the most interesting for me is men's. Because I think in mix, they can, like you said, they can kind of go crazy, overwhelm people, just totally speed up everything in a little bit more structured setting in men's. We'll see exactly what it looks like if it's crazy hectic smash and grab, or if it's a little more structured and point construction. So
it's interesting too, because I don't know who they have second round, but they're lined up with Lung and Ignatowicz. I think they maybe have Deacon Rettmeyer, which will also be interesting.
No, sure,
but you
sure.
know, Deacon's hands, I mean, he's getting 50. They're not like the same ice cold hands.
They're still good though.
No.
So he might be a little susceptible to the driving crash, but it would be interesting because I think James kind of plays the way of someone like Jack would want. Just like just kind of spastic, going for it. So if James isn't on, I think that could be an interesting match.
Yeah, and James is not. He's not a grind you out kind of guy. And, you know, that's isn't. It just isn't. So I can kind of like. I love it. Sometimes you can almost like physically see James like, I should probably dink this on court. Like you can like physically see him want to dink it, and then he just whips through. He just whips through with some speed up. So it's pretty good stuff. But you're exactly right. And I've done the same thing. You don't know the guys. The first handful of points, you just fire away and just kind of see what's happening. And if they're all pretzeled up and not handling it, you just keep doing it. But you fire away a couple times on sock, he puts one into your chest. You're going to go to the slow game pretty quick.
Yeah. And it's going to be interesting too, because I definitely think like, you know, while we were playing for money, I would definitely say not everyone was giving their full fourth effort in Vegas that weekend. And there were some people staying out late at night. And like, so it would be very interesting to see like when everyone's locked in a very competitive standpoint of kind of what it looks like.
Right. Yeah. And I got to give a shout out to Joey Farias. Just because you talked about the, you know, going out in Vegas, the bubbly. I just remember talking to Joey. He had busted out of the tournament, and I was like, "Hey, Joey, what are you up to tonight?" And he's like, "I don't know, man. I'm just gonna let Vegas take me." And I was like,
"That's where that
what a quote! What a quote! I'm just gonna let Vegas take me." I was like, "My man, Joey. There we go."
Joey's one of the best. Let me tell you.
Oh, he is. I got too many stories about him, so I'm just going to tell that one and not tell anymore. He really is. Absolute legend of the game, Joey Farias. So, Rob, did you unfortunately say something about a hard stop today for you?
Yeah, I said 12 o'clock Eastern for me, hard stop, but I can make that 12:05, so we have to.
Ooh, baby. Yeah. Well, wait, you got...
I just want to hear Lea talk about stuff. Like I just want to let Lea go.
Shit so far. This has been normal stuff so far.
Like I just kind of want to address a lot of people. It's still like, I don't know, 11 days later, and I still have a lot of people upset that I didn't apologize to Salome, which is hilarious because I just kind of want to be like, hey guys, did you not say like I'm going to be the villain this year, and you know my name a lot more now than last year, and you guys still are like 11 days later than paying attention to me, like. Stop falling into my trap.
I told you.
But it would be mainly like this incident. There was a gray area. Like that's kind of how I came out and said it. I wrote it out because I didn't want to go off script because we know I can go off script sometimes. The PPA did not make me write it. I wrote it because I'm very happy the PPA responded to my very much public outcry. You know, it was disappointing that it had to get to that point, but we've been talking about paddle testing forever. And, but I apologize for what I thought was wrong, which was how I lost my cool. And, you know, I feel like she knows she was pushing the limits. No person can just come out and say, this was 100% legal because there's a huge gray area. And like in 50 years, when we look back on this, that match and that incident will be the reason why. Like there's gotta start being some stuff put in where we can just be like, hey, this, that, and the other thing. And, you know, it would have been interesting to see if it was put under ultrasound instead of just this spec 0.5 taken out of MLP. Like even Brooks has talked about, we're gathering data, even for grit. Like what is 40% grit? Like, how do we know that's good for our game? You know what I mean? So it's like this incident is changing towards that, but had I even apologized to her, everyone would have been like, well, she's not even sorry. So it's like, I'm not going to set myself up for that, and I'm just going to do what I want.
So you mentioned the gray area. What is the gray area? Oh, just lost her. Man, that was just like a mic. Maybe she's not coming back after that. She's just like said what she had to say and then bye.
I would actually
I'd respect
kind
it
of
a lot.
respect. Yeah. If she just went on a spiel and then just rolled out and that was that.
Adam, I told you before we got on the air that before kind of every podcast, I go to Google search and look up pickleball and then click on the news category to see what articles are coming up. Yeah. And I still have this tab at the top of my screen that says, that's one of the articles that came up near the top. And it said, this is the headline of the article. Someone keeps masturbating near the Walter Reed pickleball courts. Anyways, I'm not going to go into that article, but that's the stuff that's popping up.
Did you kick me out of that one? Or
no, ask Leah. Ask Leah about what she thinks about that top article that when you search Google pickleball. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, no, I didn't kick you out, Leah. I think
I just must have hit something on my new phone.
I think StreamYard really appreciated it. We thought like if that's a legit mic drop and you're out, respect, respect.
Yeah.
Like she's gone, man. She's gone. You gotta respect it.
It's just, I was telling Adam, like kind of before every pod, just to kind of get a current event, like brief of what's going on in pickleball. I do a Google search of pickleball, then I click on the news category to see what news articles are being written. And the second from the top, published 21 hours ago at arlnow.com, the headline reads, "Someone keeps masturbating near the Walter Reed pickleball courts."
What would you do if you were practicing, Leah, and you just look over and someone's masturbating?
God.
I would have to end my practice.
We're gonna have to edit all this out.
Yeah, you're gonna. So I have a question.
Do we have to edit this?
I have a question for you guys. Rob, I still know like you're coming back from injury and playing, but Adam, I would say you're pretty much retired.
Oh yeah.
When you guys look at pickleball now and all that's what's going on, do you think it's good or bad for the game? Because this is kind of a debate I'm hearing. And like, I'm so in the fishbowl, I want to hear people's outside perspectives.
In what sense?
Do you think like this has helped growing it and like this is good, creating all this chaos and stuff is good? Or is it like, well, this is just kind of a circus show, this is going to go nowhere? Like, what do you think?
In terms of the paddle stuff and all the controversy.
Yeah, just like there's like with the PPA and the regulations, how we're trying to make a handbook, how you kind of have players, including myself. You got players like Tyson hopping out on their podcast, stirring the pot. Do you think it's good? Do you think it's good? Or do you think it's not so good?
I don't know if it's good.
Go ahead, Rob. You go first.
Yeah,
I was just I was just gonna say it does depend on what you consider good, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, we used to play tournaments and we'd all go out to eat together and it was one big happy family. That's never gonna happen again.
No.
But growth of sport, eyeballs on sport, money into sport, better opportunities in between the lines and outside the lines, I think it absolutely is good. How many? Like, I just think of like someone clicking on a clickbait thing about drama, but think of all the pickleball stuff around that drama on a podcast that you hear also. So it's like you might be going in for drama or, ooh, that's kind of spicy, but you get pickleball content and get more involved in the game in some capacity, even if at first all you cared about was the drama that was going on. So I think good eyeballs, bad eyeballs are eyeballs, and it's a good thing to just get people talking and buzzing about the sport. So if you're money in the sport, grow it as big as it can get, I think it's good.
Yeah, fair. I don't know if I think it's just growing pains is how I look at it.
Yeah.
And like this stuff's natural in terms of growing a professional sport and finding regulations and finding standards that players abide by. Especially the wild thing to me, I do think we might be rushing it a little bit in terms of like, I think Connor Pardo said betting's coming within a month, right, or something like that. I also heard that 2 years ago too, right?
Yeah.
So who knows? But I do know that to have kind of like, the issue right now is level playing field, not only in betting, which you do need to know that, players are regulated, that, certain players don't have advantages, whether it's performance enhancing drugs or whether it's a paddle that's juiced, whether it's whatever it may be. For betting, there needs to be a level playing field, but also for the players, there needs to be a level playing field. And right now there's not. And that's just because of lack of regulation. So I think regulations are good. They need to come in. And I think that's what's going to allow betting. And that's what's going to allow, I do think betting is the major catalyst in making pro pickleball really a more of a mainstream sport with real money coming in. Love it or hate it, I think that's the catalyst. So I think we need to do whatever it takes to get that.
It's inevitable. I think, like, if you want it to become something, every pro sport has betting, and especially with pickleball, if you want people at first to get eyeballs on it, it's going to be betting. So it's it's just interesting because I've a lot of people have been like, this is like the WWE, like you guys are all acting like maniacs and stuff, and I don't think people know, like, so if I'm out there playing somebody and I think I'm at a disadvantage, which I've been feeling like multiple times in singles, I've been at a disadvantage for the past 2 years. I can firmly say that I believe I am one of the top singles players who's not looking for stuff. And I do, however, look for an up to par gritty paddle that I always get tested though. Like I push the limits on my grit. I go right up to that 40. But if you don't but we have a regulation in for that. So as someone who's like out there playing for literally their livelihood, for their retirement, for if I want a future family's retirement, like I don't know. Like I just kind of feel like, of course, emotions are going to come out and we're going to fight for stuff and these things are going to happen. Yeah. I think Anna Lee Waters is making comfortably over 7 figures this year. So at what point are you not just going to be like, I mean, I would imagine like the top male pros are making the same. I've heard crazy numbers of what Riley is making. And there's been some talk of his paddle as well. So at what point do you just not throw your hands up and be like, I'm sick of this? And no one understands, like, I've been on this issue since end of last year. Like, I've played with delaminated paddles in practice and I'm a freaking all-star singles player with them. And I've been making a big deal to Connor Pardo since January about this, and nothing's happening. So yeah, I'm going to lose my top sometimes when I feel like nothing is ever going to happen from it.
Yeah, and let's be clear. I know people that would cheat at tiddlywinks. We're talking about 7 figures.
Exactly.
We're talking about 7 figures, and we're talking about real money, real pickleball famous and whatever else. That's real shit, man. That's serious.
Just think of the OGs too, who are like really in this and would be damned if now that it's become a big thing for them to lose their mark. Like, there's no way they're letting this go. That's impossible. That's like a earth-shattering event for some of them. So that's motivation in itself. It's finally coming to mainstream. I don't want to be the person who was good back then, but I'm not good now.
Yeah.
That's me.
Go get some PEDs and a delaminated paddle, and you're back, Adam.
Hey, well, I signed with Selkirk, so I got a better paddle.
No way, you signed with Selkirk too?
Yeah, everybody. I'm jumping on the bandwagon. Let's go.
He's an elite content creator. Of course he signed with Selkirk.
I'm a high-end pickleball personality. You damn right they signed me. Let's go. Come on.
Actually, with you, that Selkirk can really help your countering ability.
That's what we talked about earlier.
On it, but that paddle tech was doing you no justice.
Yeah, I told him now. You're still gonna get lit up. You're just gonna get up. You're gonna get lit up less.
Yes,
no,
less.
Adam was always on the first one. It was when the second one came back, his big swing never left him because he was trying to put so much on it.
It's true. It's true. The subsequent hits were very much less good for me than that first one. So I hear that.
Guys, I hate to do this, but
I know
the Mayo Clinic's calling me, so I have to go.
Yeah, so
I hope you're good, Rob.
Hey, well, we might have to combine these. We might have to get her back for a little 20 or 30 minute in the next few days.
Yes, get me back. I have my new phone, and I'll be ready for you guys.
No overheating.
We didn't get too juicy. So we got to get her back, Robert.
Come on,
I told Leah she's going to be a regular
guest. Get me back and get me in trouble, guys. It's always fun when I get the YouTubers yelling at me.
Oh, we'll juice it up next time. Thanks, Leah.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining.
All right, thanks, guys.
Good luck. Bye, guys.
Because you know why?
Why?
Because it feels right. It feels right.
Legendary.